The steps are we're identifying them, we're contacting them, we're giving them the information they need, probably they've already had that, and then we're writing either a warning letter or an abatement notice depending on their response. So there's, as I said, 60 odd abatement notices out there right now that tell people they have to comply. There's already been 4 infringement notices issued where we fine people for failure to comply, and then eventually, if it comes to it, we will be prosecuting. Yes, the time for warning letters has really been over the last 4 years. The time for warning letters is virtually over. Warning letter is just to tell somebody they've got a minor non-compliance, not something as significant as you're actually out of step with the regulations. We'll prosecute in 2 different ways. So the first is analysis of last season's data. We're full on into that at the moment, and we'll see whether or not we've got any major non-compliance. Secondly, we don't want to start this season with anyone not compliant with the water metering regulations. I would imagine if there are a few recalcitrant farmers who haven't got the meter installed, that we will have to look at prosecution. No, we've not seen enough court action around water metering prosecutions to know, or even overtakes to know exactly what the courts might do. But the courts will take all the information into account, and the fines are pretty substantial under the Resource Management Act now. And I guess the final line for me will be, it's very difficult to farm an irrigated farm without water. Maximum fine is 600,000, and far more important though is that you may not be able to exercise your consent. And that is more important to a farmer going into a season. What would I expect the courts to do with the first prosecutions if we took them? Probably work through fairly carefully and try and send a message. I don't think that anybody could contemplate starting the irrigation season this year without a functioning water meter in place, or they might get prosecuted, or far worse, they might not have water to pump. Exactly, exactly, it is. 5 years of working with the farming community, and I just want to stress, when you think about it, that meant that out of 5,900 farmers that need takes, 5,500 of them have got them. And I'm very proud of that shift and that investment by the farming community in that. We are mopping up the final bit. Enough is enough. We serve an abatement notice on them that tells them to stop taking water, and then we prosecute them if they fail to comply with that abatement notice. That's not terribly difficult, in that most of them have to pump water. So we will know the minute they start to pump water, because there aren't that many of them. Some of them will even be involved in schemes, which means that they're fairly easy to track down. And we are dealing with the last few. The farming community itself is our greatest eyes and ears. All of the farmers in Canterbury know how much they depend on water. So the last thing they want to see is somebody else using water unfairly, inappropriately, without consent. No, we've been working on it for 5 years, but Royal Forest and Bird asked some good questions that enabled us to bring to a close that 5-year period and achieve water metering compliance across Canterbury. No, we already had it and we were acting on it. They actually got some older information, if you recall, their information was 2 years old, but they asked the right questions, which was, where were we with compliance? Not quite. We've served people with basically an abatement notice, giving them 10 days to comply if they don't have a meter. All right, so that's with the 10-day kind of 2 week. But really our aim was to always wrap up the water metering compliance before the next irrigation season starts. So, and that's really the key. So we need to have everybody, if you like, wrapped up and fully metered really by the middle of September. Because you always want to start a season with people with the capability of supplying you with the information you need. I believe that there's already another 80 odd that are fully compliant now. There's about another 65 under abatement notices. I think, to be honest, we're probably down around the 200, 250 people where it's an unknown, and we'll deal with those over the next month or so. Oh no, we've gone from something like 400 with meters in 2012 to nearly 5,000 by the season, 5,500 actually. So no, we were making huge progress, and so it really was about mopping up the final 10%, and now I think we're literally down to the final 3% maybe.